Hello there. So I'm here in this video to tell you about the tools that we can use for writing in Braille when we maybe don't have a Braille writer with us, such as um, a computer with a Braille embosser or a manual with person's Brailler. So there are situations where sometimes we just need something very lightweight and portable for writing things that may be shorter passages or just labels or something such as that, where we don't necessarily need a whole machine. And in cases such as that, we use these tools, and I'm going to show them to you now. They're called the slate and the stylus, and they're used together. And the first tool I'll show you the stylus. And the stylus is this, make sure you can see it. It kind of looks like a screwdriver, but it's akin to an awl. If you ever used any tools, or if you've ever worked with leather or anything like that, you've probably seen them before. But this is an ergonomic little version of that, which has a nice metal tip. It has a very, this one has a pretty comfortable handle. Some of the handles are shaped a little more differently. Some are plastic. This one is wooden. It has a nice firm metal tip, but not sharp. And it's small enough to fit comfortably in your hand. The other part of this system is called the slate. So it kind of comes like, as you would imagine, a piece of slate, or like the stone. And this, of course, is plastic slate. There are some that are metal, and they come with, in the modern sense, with a hinge that opens and closes like that. This is an important aspect of the slate stylus. It allows you to line the paper up consistently and hold it into place properly. You can see the little tabs that grab the paper and hold it into place. The bottom of the slate has little indentations in it, which allow for you to use the stylus, kind of like this little punch, without poking an actual hole in the paper. It allows the indentations without poking holes. And the top part of this, the part that would be closest to you, is the template. It's like a template for all these Braille cells. And there are different size slates. This one happens to have 4 rows of about, I think it was like 28 cells. I believe how many Braille cells there are. So that would be give you an opportunity to write, that many Braille characters or Braille cells. So, so that's the slate, and this is the stylus. And again, they're used for us to be able to write Braille in a pretty portable fashion. They're pretty lightweight. I won't say that they're easy to use for somebody with a fine motor deficit. It may be a little bit challenging. Especially this one's plastic. It could probably break pretty easily. So that's something to take into consideration when you're looking at whether something like this would be appropriate, or maybe, which particular one to use. So when it's time to load your paper into the slate, it's actually very simple. It requires a little bit of coordination at first and some practice. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your slate. You're going to find the little tab that, as you can see, that little tab. So you can just open it up, and you're going to take your paper, and you're going to have it, first of all, it needs to be face down, so that when you actually pick it up to read it, you'll be reading it like from in this direction, but to write it, you actually have to put it face down. And you bring the paper all the way into the corner. And as you can see in the camera, there are some little tabs there in the bottom that grip the paper. But I'm just going to adjust the camera so it's a little bit easier to see, particularly since it's a bit small. So you bring your paper, if you're beginning at the top, I've already done some brailing on this sheet. You bring it into the top corner wherever you want to start brailing, and you snug it in, and then you basically just fold the top of the slate down. You want to make sure when you load it that you're loading it straight and not like crooked. I don't know if you can tell that that's crooked. So yeah, typically it's best to start at the top, but when you're loading the paper, you just line it up with that nice hinge, and when you fold the plate down, you press it down until it snaps. And once it snaps, you know that it's really gripped the paper, and it's not going to slide around or anything. So now that the slate is on there, good, it's all ready to start brailing. Braille with a slate and stylus, we're doing things a little bit differently. It's a little bit more complicated than what it's like when we're brailing with a Perkins Brailler. So we have to look at it differently. We talked in a previous video, I described how when we read Braille, such as the letter F, this is what it looks like, and you can learn that pretty quickly and be able to read it. But writing Braille is different. So we have to look at things differently. With the Perkins Brailler, we talked about how we had to kind of look at it like this, you know, with our fingers, you know, lined up on the keys, and these dots, sorry, I can show you, these dots, you know, kind of representing the dot keys on the Brailler. So that's not what we look at when we're using the slate and stylus. We still look at it in the same way that we read it, but we do it kind of backwards. We do it, we have to write it backwards, basically. So we have to write from right to left instead of from left to right. So because we are pushing the indentations in, so we're basically writing with our paper facing down. And I'll just show you. So this is dot 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you can see that. So the only one in F is dot 1. Sorry, opposite day. So this is dot. This is dot 1, 2, and 3 in dot F. And as you can tell, I don't know if you can tell from the light, the way it's illuminating, the dots 1 and 2 and the dot 4 are the ones that are represented here for the letter F. So to translate that with a slate and stylus, we're basically going to take dots 1, 2, and 3, and maybe I'll just write it down here. So it makes a little more sense. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. We take our dots, and I don't know if you can see that still. And my handwriting might not be dark enough, but we take that and we end up having dots 1, 2, and 3 on the opposite side, and 4, 5, and 6 on the other side. So to Braille with the slate stylus, the letter F, we're going to make the word fun. It's fun to talk about fun. And we can start in that first cell over here. We'll start on the second line. So to braille the word fun, we're going to braille in the dots 1 and 2 on the right hand side and dots 4 on the left hand side. And that's the letter F. For the letter U, we're going to do the same transposition. So normally you see that normally you would see that dots 1 and 3 would be on the left hand side and dots 6 would be on the right hand side. But because we're doing this with our paper upside down, we're gonna braille the dots 1 and 3 on the right and the dot 6 on the left. So do that. So 1, 3, 6. And I don't know if you hear the paper, it makes a little punchy sound when you actually do emboss the dots by hand. And so here we have the letter N, which normally has dots 1 and 3 on the left and 4 and 5 on the right. And we're going to just do some opposite. So we have 1 and 3 on the right and 4 and 5 on the left. So 1 and 3 on the right and 4 and 5 on the left. Great. So once you're done with your braille, in this case I just brailled one word, fun, you would take your paper, and by the way, the slate really holds nicely on their own. If you see them not holding the slate at all, it really does grab on there nicely to hold the paper in place. You really do have to open it up and take the paper out. Once you take it out, you may need, in this case, if you were brailing the whole page, you would just slide it down as you go and just reset it until you were finished. But in this case, just for this demonstration, we just braille this one word. So then you can see that we have brailled the word fun. And so I hope that was that made sense. I know there's a lot of it's a little bit more complicated than brailing with the Perkins Brailer because it is opposite. But if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for the next, for this video, or for any questions or anything you're curious about to do with Braille that you'd like to learn more about, let me know, and it's very helpful. Thank you.